manager will have to discuss about some questions so that someone already made some. And I would pass the talk to Tinette for her speech. It's up to you. Thank you, Tinette, for your speech. You can go. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marco, for that for welcoming me tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tinette Cortes, straight from the Philippines, almost 6,500 miles away from Italy, and 6 hours ahead of your time zone. So just a little introduction of myself. I am a consultant. I'm the founder and CEO of a training institution, which I will be happy to introduce later on. I'm also an intercultural coach and trainer, helping individuals and organizations achieve their business objectives through soft skills training and coaching. So tonight or today, I'll be talking about how to deliver 5-star customer service in the Philippines. Because again, as export managers or as business owners, it is important to know how to sustain your businesses when you start to internationalize or when you start to hit this part of the world. It is important for me to share with you some of the cultural aspects of the country, because as you all know, the Philippines is a very sophisticated market. It is very easy to sell to Filipinos, and it's also very easy to work with us because we are really a very happy and committed race of people. So just to give you a little background of the Philippines, we are situated right in Southeast Asia, and it's actually a gateway to other parts of Asia. We are 111 million in population, so that's a massive market, that's a massive population, and most of the Filipinos, most of my countrymen can be considered resilient and hardworking. So as you can see, even at a very young age, kids are already taught how to work hard and to support their parents through producing very, very good products. And I'm very, very proud to let you know that aside from being industrious, we are also very family oriented. And so all the buying behavior of the Filipinos are heavily influenced by family, friends, colleagues at work, and relatives. In this case, if you're planning to come to the Philippines to export, you can very well say that everything is relationship based. And this is what I wanted to talk about tonight. So one thing nice about the Philippines is that we have massive factories. If you want your items to be stored or manufactured here in this country, we have about 8 million people working in the industrial and the manufacturing sectors. So it is a very, it's a very supportive setup for you if you plan to come over here. At the same time, we are also considered as one of the world's call center capital in the, in the whole global landscape, in the global business landscape. And the reason for this is because Filipinos are very fluent in English. Every part of the country, you would notice that it's very easy to communicate with them, with foreigners. And so if you're doing business with us, you will not need any translators. Filipinos are actually very much influenced by foreigners anyway, so we can well adapt to whatever nationalities would want to invest in our country. As well as the co-working spaces are very massive, wherein if you're just starting your business here and you don't want to set foot or rent a big office or building, we have lots and lots of co-working spaces everywhere, scattered across the country. And so if you wanted to do some business down south, we have co-working spaces there, meaning you only have to rent a table or two and hire staff maybe from here and work remotely. So it's very easy. You don't necessarily have to come over here physically, especially during the pandemic. Everything can be done virtually. And this is exactly what some of the Italian companies are doing right now. Now, what I'd like to focus on tonight or this afternoon is the cultural value of the Filipino, which is called malasakit. Malasakit is a term that we use to describe the heart of the Filipinos. So when you come here and work with Filipinos, whether as exporters or even hiring employees or selling to the customers, everybody does his or her own thing with his or her heart. And so you can be reassured that the trust level is high. The commitment and dedication and hard work that people are going to put into your business will be very, very good. This is also the reason why a lot of our professionals are also one of the world's favorites when it comes to Filipinos being hired by multinationals, let's say whether here in this country or abroad. And as you know, we also have a lot of nurses working overseas. It's because of the Filipino heart, the Filipino touch, which is malasakit. And of course, when you're doing a business, when you're exporting your products or even your services to the Philippines, you have to ask yourself this question: who is going to handle my products and services, and how are my customers going to be treated? Just by asking those two questions, your problem is already solved, because the culture of the Filipino, it's just natural to give that 5-star customer service, which is, again, as I said, it's called malasakit. And this means that even if your product is a chemical or food or fashion or cars, you will be reassured that the people who will be handling your products and the people you will be transacting with, which is the customer, you would experience hospitality, respect, empathy, authenticity, and more so adaptability. We adapt to our guests, meaning foreigners coming to our country. And this is also the reason why a lot of our foreign investors and exporters adapt to our culture. And this is the reason, again, for this talk, I'd like to center my talk on customer centricity or customer service, because if you are in business, we have the tendency to focus mainly on products. And from some reliable sources who are actually Italian friends of mine, they said that Italians are very product driven, which is a great trait. It's absolutely fantastic. However, if we are product oriented, we need to complement that with customer orientedness. And this is how I would describe that. If you are product centered, of course, you develop certain products that you think would look nice, would look fashionable, would look perfect, something that's full of love, the Italian way. And that's absolutely great. But if you move it a little bit further into customer centricity, then you would have to define or design the item a little bit differently so that it's easier for the people to use it. In other words, you are now adapting to the customer behavior, customer needs, and customer background based on the culture or the country that you're stepping into. And in the Philippines, for instance, when we think of McDonald's, for example, we think of hamburgers, right? But then in the Philippines, McDonald's has actually introduced Filipino items in McDonald's. And so, and it's the same in other parts of the world. They would come up with Chinese menus or Indian menus, depending on the market that they are actually penetrating. So in our case, if you're planning to come to the Philippines, it would be lovely because we are a very diverse race of people. We have different regions with different dialects, different customs, and different values. So it's fantastic. Now, just to wrap my talk, in the Philippines right now, there are certain luxury brands who are stepping up their game, not only through their fantastic products, but through the service that they're actually giving. And this service is very, very Filipino. So for instance, Maserati, of course, one of our favorite cars, my favorite car, of course, Maserati has a fantastic showroom here in the Philippines, and you would not believe it. So many Filipinos own Maseratis. And the reason why it is so, aside from the fantastic car itself, the people who are moving or who are selling the Maseratis here have already adapted the Filipino way. Some of them are foreigners, some of them are Filipinos. So in other words, they have learned to capture the heart and the buying decisions and the emotions of Filipinos. Another case in point is, of course, Lamborghini here in Manila. As you can see, we have a very, very successful business here for Lamborghini. Again, Filipinos are very sophisticated buyers. It's a very sophisticated market. We don't think anymore if we like something. We don't think of the price. We don't think of the, the technicalities. If we like something, we use our heart to buy it. So again, whether you're hiring employees or selling to customers, the heart is the central decision-making factor. As well as these brands, of course, which I absolutely love. It's also very, very common for Filipinos to patronize these brands. In fact, we even have our bags customized and put our labels and put our hand-painted items, for example. And even French companies have really, learned to value the Filipino culture. And that's why they have been doing so well, even the course of the pandemic. Just to share with you just one last point before I wrap up. The pandemic has given or has caused so much scare to a lot of business owners. But for the Italian brands and other European brands, because of the Filipino resilience, because of the Filipino innovation, not in product, but in service, people learned how to call clients instead of wait for clients. People have learned to write emails to clients and update them on what's happening instead of just waiting for the clients. And this is, again, the Filipino way. We work hard to reach out to your clients. And that's why I'm very, very proud to say that this country, the Philippines, I can send you some stuff if you're interested, but what's important is, that the culture is a big factor in doing business. We can talk about all the tariffs and all these technicalities, in the future, but the most important thing is, why. What is your big reason or purpose for being in business in the first place? If you are in that certain industry, what is your purpose? Is it just to innovate products? Or is it really to solve the issues or the problems and needs of your customer? And of course, it's very important to ask yourself, who is your customer? Because, ladies and gentlemen, again, it is so important to identify the big difference between high tech and high touch. And the Philippines is all about high touch, which is going to be perfect as we complement the high tech products of Italy. So with that, I'd like to end my talk by saying that we'll be happy to speak more, or if you have any questions and you'd like to explore doing business in the Philippines, or exploring, at least learning the culture through customer service training, I have my contact details here. And I have my wonderful business development partner in Italy, 𝑷𝒉𝒊𝒍𝒊𝒏𝒈. We have our contact details, our email addresses, and you may visit our website at www.ConsultAsiaGlobal.com. So with that, I'd like to end my presentation, and thank you very much to the Uniexportmanager group for having me today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tinette. Yes, great preview also for you. Thank you very much. And I think that we can see if we have question also adding to the chat here, also by the pool that we made with Giovanni Pecorari. So I will pass him the talk so he can show us what came out from the pool, and then we can go on with the question we received. Okay. Thank you very much to both you, Oksana, and you, Tinette. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Marco. Thank you.
Hello, Giovanni. What can you tell us about the survey?
Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Oksana and Tinette. It was very fruitful indeed. Yes, now we go through the outcome of the poll.